appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
All right, hello. It is the KVJ After the Show podcast here for your Thursday. Today is Juneteenth. I know that some of you have that off. A newer federal holiday that we have, but nonetheless very important.
And we used to have it off. I think we had it off 1 year.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things that has to get ramped up.
What happened today?
Federal employees have it. Yeah.
Federal employees.
Yeah, so your banks and all that kind of stuff is they've got the day off, and then individual businesses, and they get to decide what days they want to offer up to their clients.
Gotcha.
And their staff. That's kind of how that all goes. So, yeah, so today's a little bit of a weirder day. We had a meeting that happened with the whole staff, and so it kind of threw off our timing and just dealing with other stuff. So if you do watch us live right after the regular show, I do apologize that we're starting late, but we want to make sure we gave you a full after the show. And when we had time, we looked up at the clock and we had like 9 minutes. Okay, so we'll just wait and do it now.
I kind of turned into a little sleepy fox. Will somebody slap me?
Gladly.
Yeah, don't ask Virginia twice. She will definitely oblige and help you out. No doubt about it. Well, we got a bunch of emails here today answering your questions. Some giving us information, like this one from Smita sent in. And it's a little bit about the Stanley Cup, which we talked about a bit more. But, yeah, the regular cup stays at the headquarters there. And the guy I was talking about, Phil Pritchard is his name. That's the guy I saw the special on that wears the white gloves. And he's married that trophy for 30 years, something like that. He's worked, and he's the keeper of the cup. And he takes his job very seriously. So, yeah, the stuff that is going on with the cup that you see out there getting thrown in the ocean and banged around, that is one of 3 replica cups. So that was the information that you got a couple times on today's regular show. So thank you for that. Amy is saying, hey, I was listening to this morning's show. I heard Virginia's tip on the Sonesta Hotel for the Panthers parade this weekend. I booked a room there and was wondering if you had any more tips for going. It's just me and my 10-year-old son, who is a huge fan, and we talked a little bit about that on the regular show, discussions about a wagon maybe for the little kids, so you're not dragging them around because you may have to cover a little bit of distance from where you park or where you might stay to the parade route.
I would get a little bungee cord, and I would bungee a step ladder to my wagon. It's very easy to do. And then that way, when you get to the parade, wherever you end up standing to watch it, bam, you pull out the step ladder, your kid stands on it, and now he can actually see over all the adults that do not make room for the children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good advice. My question, what about using the bathroom? Are there a lot of places to go to the bathroom if you're out there and you've been drinking and now all of a sudden you got a wee-wee?
Well, it's on the beach. I think there's still little beach.
Do they set up porta potties or anything like that? Or
I can't remember.
Okay.
But, I mean, you do have all the hotels, all the restaurants. Those are all still open on the town side, not the beach side.
Okay.
So maybe stay on that side to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell you too, bring sunscreen, bring a hat, bring a little rain gear in case it starts raining.
Yeah.
You never know. It's South Florida. But
right.
If you put everything in a wagon and then you just put your kid in that wagon, decorate your wagon with like a Panthers flag or maybe like, some Panthers colored balloons.
Yep.
Make it into a little mini float for your kid and he will love it.
I wonder how tough it is to get reservations at like Rock Burger or Senior Frogs or someplace like that where maybe you'd be able to sit at a table and watch while dining.
We walked into a lot of those places and most of the people were on the street watching. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you're going to have that much trouble finding a place to eat before or after. Get out there early as you can is what I would tell you too. I mean, if you're staying at the Sonesta, I think you're doing it right. You've got a little bit of a walk to the parade, but it's a fun walk because everybody's going up and down the street hooting and hollering, right. And all the other Panthers fans in their gear are all excited. It's definitely a vibe. It's a fun energy.
Yeah, I think that would be a very cool part of it. I'd like to do the bar hopping because there are a few places to go there, and I imagine Beach Place might be a good place. Assume it goes right by there. You can kind of hang out the Hooters or whatnot.
There's like several bars we went into. I went into one last year, and they were having a twerk contest. I was so happy. It was so much fun.
What I loved last year was they had so many TV people, and everybody you could tell was really drinking and just getting after it, and there were so many people that were dropping terrible language live on TV, and they were just freaking out. It was so fun.
You couldn't even hit the dump button fast enough for the Panthers fans.
I think there's at least, because I made a video of it, I think there's at least like 6 or 7 clips. I couldn't even get them fast enough.
It's funny to see TV people freak out when something goes over the air. Like, whoa!
Oh, yeah. I think every network had them, and they just kept putting the microphone in front of drunk Panthers fans' faces. And,
I mean, you get what you get.
And they didn't even care. They, like they used to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. They'd be like, no, we're fucking number 1. Yeah. And you're like, oh, we're sorry. People don't even care now. Joel sent an email here. He said, Victoria, not everybody has Moose Lodge money for a hotel room for one night for a parade. So, yes, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Did he call you Victoria?
Who's Victoria?
I think he's making a joke on you, getting your name wrong.
Yeah.
Well, when I booked it last year, I'll tell you this. I booked it before they announced the parade because Panda was like, okay, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen this Saturday night. Get the room Saturday night for the Sunday parade. And so we did. We booked it. I think I paid $150, $160 last year, which was a great deal. This year, I just looked and the rates are up to like $340, $350. And that is a lot. And my suggestion is go in with somebody. Go in with another Panthers fan.
Right.
Get 2 beds. And then y'all can split the cost of it. We have a lot of KVJ Nation going down there. A lot. I'm hearing from Jennifer and her son Hunter. They're going. Ramsey, who I partied with last year, he's going.
Yep.
There's a bunch of KVJ Nation out there. So maybe in addition to your Panthers gear, put on a little KVJ gear too, and you might find some kindred spirits.
There you go. Yeah. Love to see that. Love to see some KVJ out there. And like Panda, it looks like Will was doing the old beard for the playoffs, which a lot of the hockey players do. He got a little scruffy there. He didn't shave it at all.
He's adorable, by the way.
Yeah.
What a cutie.
He started game 1 of the playoffs, and as soon as the cup presentation was over, he couldn't stand it any longer, so bye-bye beard.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
He's got to be like, my face isn't so hot anymore.
When you grow a beard, there's stages where it is awful, and then it kind of settles, and then it gets awful again. If every 4th week, it gets awful. I don't know if you ladies ever have to deal with the itchies. And
I mean, yeah, if you grow like a full bush.
That's always good, too, when you're scratching your crotch.
Let's grow that thing out for the summer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think if you grew the bush, I don't think you're going to be itchy. I think if you shaved the bush off and it grew back in, there's going to be stages of itch.
You know bush.
I like bush.
I love how you're mansplaining bush to me.
I honestly, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting it right.
And I got this email said I saw these throwback KVJ photos at a Florida Panthers game. That's when we did the Zamboni matrimony once upon a time, and we had a couple that was married on these Zambonis. We were zipping around the ice.
It was lovely, romantic.
And they said your old traffic girl from your last station was in the photos. I heard that Andrea, the traffic girl, and Jaber were dating back in the day. Is that true?
That is not true.
People were like, wow, their arms are around each other. Were they dating?
Nope, we were not. I think she was engaged at the time, I believe. She had a man.
Yeah.
When we worked together, it was all business, baby.
Too bad, because she is gorgeous.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well.
Yeah, well.
Didn't work out.
It's the woman sexually harassing the traffic girl.
Oh, I'll tell her to her face.
Oh, she knows.
She's hot.
And Echo said, YouTube TV is not the same as YouTube Premium. These are completely different services. YouTube TV is like the cable version of TV, but you stream it. YouTube Premium is regular YouTube, but without the commercials. Okay, very cool.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I go on regular YouTube Premium or non-premium that much.
You do some fucked up thing that I'm not. We're in different lands, baby.
We are. I do YouTube TV.
I just do YouTube Premium, and it's basically a monthly fee, no commercials, and whatever I type up will come up for me.
You watch TV like a young hipster. I watch TV like an old grandma. Oh, I gotta have my channels lined up. I gotta have all the major networks.
Oh, you would both of you would hate how everything is organized. It's just nothing but organized chaos with all my.
So in a sense, not organized.
Yes, exactly.
Just chaos.
Yes,
I hear you. Yeah, it's to me, YouTube has positioned themselves very well. It really is. Where they are now is fantastic, and then as people are creating more and more content, really just for YouTube, to me, it's the future. I think it's growing. I was a little surprised when it broke down that people are now watching digital more than they're watching cable, and what was it? Something else combined. It was the old traditional ways of watching it.
I am not
cable and broadcast, maybe I think combined.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was the first time it had ever happened just in the last month. But what surprised me was YouTube's lead on Netflix. That was where the surprise came in for me, because I would have assumed that maybe they'd be neck and neck, but it was, I think, 12% of the audience was YouTube and 7% was Netflix. So when you're looking at those numbers, that's almost double of what Netflix has.
And again, YouTube is where anybody can play. Netflix, you got to be invited to the dance.
Yeah, and look, there are some people doing some really quality programming, especially the niche stuff. I know that I do as well. I'm going on there. There's a lot of really smart people who are doing podcasts or little shows, and they're becoming more produced. They're looking a little bit more professional. And, that game has radically changed now. You can create your own TV channel right there on YouTube.
That's cool.
And do whatever content you want to do and be your own boss. Echo did say, I really do hate sports talk, and I'm sad to do it, but now I got to start skipping entire segments of your show because of the prolonged talking about something I literally hate to hear about. So.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone's. They're all not going to be home runs.
Maybe whenever you're doing like a sports segment, you can do a quick little dirty joke in the middle.
Well, if you don't like hockey and you hate hockey and you hear someone, I mean, if I don't like a subject and I'm not interested in it, I'm going to go click. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yes. Well, Echo, just hope that the Panthers suck next year.
Cheer for failure.
That's about it. And Christina said, HBO has changed to just Max. When they acquired Discovery Programming and they brought on a ton of trash TV from channels like TLC, they brought in a bunch of reality television, and they didn't want to cheapen the branding of HBO, which is known for putting out high-quality programs like Game of Thrones, Sopranos, etc. When you clicked into Max, you could pick HBO. Overall, it was confusing, and they definitely were losing out on streamers looking for HBO. But I think the story was they've changed whatever it was. They had gone just to Max, and now they've bounced off of that.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah. So
why would you abandon the HBO name?
Well, I guess that was the explanation. They just thought that, they had to change it up.
I mean, since I was a kid, HBO has been crushing it. They don't really miss with their original programming. And I'm talking about back in the day with the show Oz, the show Mr. Show. I mean, the Larry Sanders Show. Since the 90s, 80s. Do you remember a show called Not Necessarily the News?
Yeah.
That was big in the 80s, and that was HBO programming.
Yeah, and that does make sense. So understanding they didn't want to water down the HBO and think, HBO now sucks with some of that other programming. So by going HBO Max, the Max covers everything that's not the HBO brand that they brought in under the umbrella.
I wonder if they have all of them 90s and early 2000 titty movies from the Max.
Why don't you look on YouTube?
Well, that's Cinemax. That's a different
That's
brand.
completely different?
Yeah.
Shit, a fucking stupid idea.
Yeah.
We're used to it.
What? Oh, I'm too tired. I know you're making fun of me, but I don't know why.
You're pulling a double. You shouldn't be here right now.
Penelope said, this is live, yes. If you're watching right now and I'm reacting to it, yeah, this is live. If you tuned in a little bit late, we had some meeting stuff that was unavoidable, so we had to get to that. But we want to give you a full length when it came to doing a podcast, and we weren't able to do that.
Full length and full girth.
Yes, exactly.
Take it.
Length overrated, girth is where you want it.
They're both important, but we digress.
And Krista said, I know you guys are always looking for a good watch. I got a movie recommendation. It is Mountainhead on HBO Max. It is a comedy drama with Steve Carell about 4 billionaire best friends, one of which I'm convinced is based off of Elon Musk, I'm sure. They meet up for a reunion poker game, but then decide to kill one of their friends because he won't sell his AI.
One of the billionaires?
I guess
Wow.
he may not be one of the billionaires, but it may be an outside friend that has AI and won't sell it. It's so ridiculous and dark and feels slightly real in a scary way that I tucked away in my world news trauma compartment. Put it on your watch list. I promise it won't disappoint. That might be one. I don't know if that's one. John Hamm, I think, is in some news show, and people were saying that was good as well. But
That sounds like a Kevin show right there.
it does. Honestly, I would be really into it. You know, I talk about AI to a point that angers a lot of people, but I just really think it is that important. I think it's that big.
The robots
that
love it.
it's
They're like,
worthy
keep
of it."
talking, Kevin.
Tomorrow you
Yeah.
should do an AI sports segment.
Yeah, you could actually. Yeah. And there's just, it's going to be such a big thing, and there's so much money in it. Did you hear that Meta, you know, because they're all so competitive about it, they are trying to get the people from OpenAI, which does the Chat GPT at your OpenAI, the team members. So they are offering them deals saying, I mean, how can you refuse this? Some of the signing bonuses, the signing bonus, not your salary, not the other perks, the bonus for coming to work with us, we'll give you $100 million.
What?
That's the signing bonus. $100 million to
What
try
is
to
this?
get some of the best people from Open. That's how competitive it is. That's how earth-shattering and groundbreaking AI is going to be when you get it there. And that's how important it is to be there first, fast, and great.
Good Lord.
$100 million for a signing bonus.
I got to get Rocco in learning about how to program AI.
It's a dangerous game.
I don't give a shit for that kind of money.
Well, that's why I think it's funny and relatively believable that you would have these billionaires trying to kill somebody because they won't give up their AI, because you're looking at that kind of money and wealth and importance.
Dang.
That they're going to kill people or pay you $100 million.
Yeah, you always forget when you have that much money, there might be someone who wants to kill you.
Yeah.
It's crazy, yeah.
And it makes for a great plot, because if you love that kind of stuff, and honestly, I really think we're going to start seeing these kind of stories and scandals that will mirror the show that they're talking about right there, where you're going to have someone in AI. It's going to be a scandal where they are going to kill somebody. Somebody in AI is going to wind up dead, and you're going to be like, oh, conspiracy theorists are going to love it.
Mo money, mo problems.
And then the ending, the AI, Chat GPT, says, this man right here killed him. She rats him out. The AI does. As the witness.
Actually, the plot is the AI is the one that killed him.
What?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the sequel.
Took out its own creator.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what they'll have to find out. And then that's when we realize, oh, shit, they are going to kill us.
We made this.
I'm
Yeah.
already convinced that
Yeah.
they're coming for that ass.
Yeah, there's that's, I guess, one point that they always talk about is when you get to that threshold. The godfather of AI is known as Jeffrey Hinton, and he said there is a 10 to 20% chance that artificial intelligence will one day decide that the human species is no longer needed and will wipe us out.
Yeah,
That's where he's
10 to
putting it.
20?
10 to 20 is what he said. This is a guy really nobody knows. He's basically is the godfather of it, started. Nobody really knows more about it than him. And he said, yeah, probably up to 20% chance they'll be like, yeah, why do we keep these humans around? They're negative, they're nasty, they're awful, they take up a lot of space, they're smelly. Let's get rid of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said the present day threats, and we've talked about many of these: mass unemployment, mass cyber attacks, lethal autonomous weapons, and bioengineered viruses. It'll just start creating it on its own.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that people are going to be losing their careers and jobs on a mass level, that alone is going to
Yeah.
get everyone a little hot under the collar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is it that people don't like? When they get mad, what don't they? Whoa, spit it out, dick face.
You said it. You're able to say that flawlessly.
He can only insult himself flawlessly.
Oh my
The other
god!
conversation, a little rocky.
Remix. What do people hate about AI when you bring it up? Just the topic.
Yeah, talk about it. But, it does come because, look, it's in the thread of everything. Every day there are big, and I'm ignoring a lot of it. I've been like, okay, try to stop talking a little less about AI. But every day there's just monumentally huge stories around it that it's going to change your life. There's going to be no way around it unless you take Jaybird's advice, you get out into the woods someplace, and there might be some communities, communal living, where they do what the Amish do and be like, you know what? You'll see more people jump on that kind of bandwagon saying, we want to go someplace, try to stay away from it, and
unplug everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Amish, I don't know if this could have been created by AI. I saw something this morning that said they had a bunch of Amish people come out.
AI Amish is an oxymoron.
It is. Yeah.
But the story was that a bunch of Amish people came out and built this huge foundation of a house. I mean, it's massive, and they started at early in the morning and got it done in one day. With I mean, you can
Amish don't fuck around.
Yeah,
they raise a barn in a day.
Yeah.
They can. That's a thing.
the structure was huge.
Yeah.
I grew up not far from Amish communities. They're, big Pennsylvania and parts of Ohio and things like that. And the craftsmanship of what they do, like if you buy anything Amish rockers and furniture and anything like that, it is of the premier quality. They build things amazing to that level. Yeah, you can't get anything better.
And their shit, like they make stuff that is the grooves of the wood fit together to hold it together, and they're like, nope, we don't need no screws. Look at this, and you're like,
yeah, it's unreal.
fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
they've mastered it.
It's unbelievable.
They don't use any kind of tools that have electricity, right? They got to go old school.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but the community, they know how to work together. Like they can put up a barn in a matter of hours.
That's what this was. This is a big ass house.
Well, they have 20,
Everybody comes.
And it's like a team. They all know what to do. They're like, I'm the guy that does this. And you ever seen ants work in tandem?
There you go.
Watching the Amish, if they would record it and do it on a time thing, it's just crazy how quick it goes up and how perfect their movements are.
I just didn't know you could build a whole large house. I mean, this thing was huge in one day.
I wish we could hire an Amish person to build a house for us. Wouldn't that be cool? But they won't.
No, I think they might come out and construct stuff for you.
Do they?
Yeah, I think you can. Oh, yeah, all the time. People are hiring Amish to do handiwork and craftsmanship.
They only built houses on their own land.
No, I mean, I know in my town, we had some Amish, and my parents were always hiring them. My mom was like, yeah, nobody does higher quality stuff.
Oh.
And has the Amish...
They were the premier craftsmen in my area.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Has the modern day Amish kind of adapted to modern day way? Is there different levels of Amish in your opinion, where you've got the old school way of thinking where there's no electricity at all, and then you've got maybe the newer cutting edge?
I think they were called, I think you had Menonites. So you had Amish and then Menonites. And I think Menonites were like Amish light. The Amish were the hardcore. The Mennonites, they wore, the ladies I remember wore kind of like, I always thought like it was something, it looked like a thing you catch fish in, like a wicker basket kind of thing on their head. I don't know what the significance was of that, but you could tell the Mennonite women, and maybe the Amish did too, but the ladies always had something that they wore in their hair.
So does that mean they can get an occasional email? I'm really not trying to be cute or make fun. I think
some of the Mennonites, the Amish, nothing at all, but I think some of the Mennonites, they might have cell phones and or a home phone and some things like that. So, but they had a lot of the same religious beliefs, because that's what it is. The Amish, they have strict religious beliefs. But then, a big part of that is the no electricity. The Mennonites really kind of have the same beliefs minus the electricity
barn.
They got air conditioning.
Yeah.
That would be so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine living as a Amish or a Mennonite and having no AC?
But I bet they can build an AC. And naturally.
Well, I mean, you could. Yeah, there are things that they might do, and keep in mind too where they typically are. It's not until recently. Now, I did see the temperatures in the Northeast the next couple of days. Even I think Boston in 3 days hits about 100 degrees. So when I was growing up, you didn't have that. You didn't need, a lot of times, up north, there were people that didn't have air conditioning and didn't need it. You just open a window and it was all good. It hasn't been until, the last 20 years or whatever that it has gotten to that level of heat. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to dive face first into an Amish person's crotch right now, but, it might be kind of rough. Got to probably towel that off a lot. So, yeah, they're probably sweating unlike they ever did before. The guy that I was talking about, the godfather of AI, he said that what I was talking about, he said in 10 to 20 years that a window is closing where AI will surpass human intelligence, and then that's where the danger comes. So he thinks it's still, a decade or two away before we hit that, but that's going to be the moment of truth.
That's going to be in our lifetime, and we're going to have to figure out what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, when you cross that threshold is the moment where you say, hey, AI is there. They're like, okay, well, we're the top of the food chain. It's like the food chain, how that works. we are the dominant species on planet Earth because we are the most intelligent. But when you're no longer that, then what does that mean? Do they decide to make you subservient to them, or do they peacefully coexist with you and say, no, we were created by them to help them? And that's what you hope AI does. Because look, what they're going to do with medicine and education is going to be unbelievable unless they realize that they get annoyed with us.
You'll be able to live longer, but you won't be able to work, and you'll be poor, and the robots will start beating your ass.
Poor sounds awful.
Yeah, I think we're all good unless there's like an AI-driven Waymo car in Boca, and then they're like going, they're all assholes. Kill them.
Start running them over.
That's going to be the moment when we put an AI Waymo power car in Boca Raton. I could not believe, just driving in Boca. I was in Boca yesterday, and you know how you take a ride at the light, and this was coming off of I-95?
Yeah.
We're sitting there. The light had just turned green. Wasn't enough for this asshole. He drove into the other lane. You know where people are then pulling onto 95? He drove the wrong way, drove around everybody, flicked us all off, and was laying on his horn. And the light just turned green. I'm like, fucking Boca, man. That's the kind of, it's unbelievable.
Boca, what the hell are you on?
There's no town in South Florida that's like that. I'm like, I can tell when I'm in Boca immediately. The asshole level goes up just so substantially.
Boca will piss off AI first.
And then that's when they're going to be like, we
AI
must kill
will
them all.
kill us because of Boca.
But I would tell AI, only wipe out the asshole drivers in Boca.
And of course, it'll be South Florida that
We're not
starts
all
this
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Up here, we're cool.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
AI,
you're right.
the AI war has started in South Florida, and it's grown to be bigger.
And I think in Fort Lauderdale, it's cool. It's just Boca.
Yeah.
Boca is like the middle. It's like the cream filling asshole of an Oreo cookie.
And that's what I think we need to tell AI. We're not all the same.
No.
Just not every human is wired the same way. So if you can you just start taking out the asshole drivers that we have here? Just start with them and see how you like it.
Please differentiate.
Yes, please.
It is crazy, though, that we're even talking about the fact that robots could wipe out the human species. That's fucking crazy to me.
It is fucking crazy.
And it makes me feel like they've known this for a while. I think they were just little droplets in movies, in pop culture.
We bought into it. We're like, oh, this is making my job so much easier.
Oh, E.T. looks so cute. Aliens will never fuck us over.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the future does or does not look like the Terminator movies.
Well, we've got a possible robots taking over, aliens landing. I mean, that's some crazy shit.
It is some crazy shit.
But is that the next chapter of Planet Earth?
Never know, man. Guess we'll have to wait and find out. So I
feel like I'm on an episode of Weird and Whatever.
I kind of time it out because I'm looking, okay, 10 to 20 years, and all right, I think it's going to be, we might just see the ultimate descent. But hopefully it's like going, thank God I'm about to punch out because these people are fucked.
That's what you said. That's what my dad says. He's like, dog, I made it past 70. This is anything else is icing on the cake. I got to my finish line.
It is.
There's a word in French. It's called lagniappe, and it just means a little bit extra. After 70, you in lagniappe years.
Okay.
I think modern day 70 is a little different though, because remember 70 when we were kids?
It was old as fuck.
They were cocoon style old. I mean, 70-year-old.
Now you see 70 playing pickleball and eating Viagra. And
they're porking.
They're porking at a rapid
They're
rate.
getting STDs and loving it.
Y'all, maybe 80 is the new 70.
It is. I don't even think they sweat STDs.
No.
I don't. Fuck, I'm almost 80.
Yeah.
I got bubble dick.
Well, what are they going to do when they get STDs and they realize now AI is going to keep them alive to 200?
That's when they go to the woods.
Yeah. Oh, man, if I'd have known that, I would have gotten gonorrhea.
Bubble dick.
Sounds like a terrible thing to have, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Or it could be, a fun little game. Yeah, I love blowing bubbles.
And Angela here, she was all into the story we were talking about. I know, Virginia, I didn't realize that you were so into that story about the woman who was cleared of the charges for killing her boyfriend, where he wound up in the snow. I didn't really follow the story too much.
A lot of women are following it because it really is a conspiracy that it feels like many of these police officers got together and decided to frame her for their actions.
So you feel, in a sense, like these are guys trying to take the woman down, so women are rallying around her.
100%.
Okay.
This is a big, if you look out in the crowds supporting her outside of the courthouse.
I couldn't believe it.
It's all pink.
Well, it
women.
Okay, now it makes sense because I just thought it was so unbelievable yesterday. The clip that I had seen was when they read the verdict and said not guilty, and you heard the crowd out front of the courthouse erupting in cheers from inside the courthouse in a way that you couldn't deny. It was like, what's that noise? It was overpowering. I was
These
like, good heavens.
bitches showed up and they were pissed. And I think in this area, in this neighborhood, in this town, in this community, a lot of people are saying, we've known this police force is shady and does stuff like this, but they've gotten away with it for so long. And this is like the first time that anybody's really held their feet to the fire and said, no, we're not doing this.
Well, this is the story of Karen Reed, who was accused of killing her police boyfriend back in 2022. And that's what she was acquitted of. Now, you had said that it looked like he had blunt force trauma is what took him out. It looked like it could have been one of the weights from the dumbbell that was inside the house, that he was drug outside the house. I saw the photos of the arm, and they were saying the dog looked like it had bitten him many times.
Here's what I think happened, because a lot of people have speculated on this. Some kind of fight happened in the basement of that house where you had these cops that maybe didn't like each other, that were all at this party together. You've got the homeowner who's there with his dog. What is your dog going to do if it sees you in a fight with somebody else? Your dog is going to bite that person. And they think that's what might have happened. Either the dog was protecting its owner.
That feels like that's got to be something, that maybe they got into a fight inside the house. The dog attacks the guy. Somebody whops him with the dumbbell. I mean, that's why a lot of times in prisons they don't have some of the free weights, because that turns into a
weapon.
Oh, I mean, my gosh. I mean, it's it's iron.
Yeah.
You bat that up against somebody's head. Yeah, forget about it. That's crazy.
You can turn anything into a weapon.
You really in
You
prison?
really can.
Yeah.
You really
They get
can.
very
You really
creative.
can.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting that so many people are on that. It seems like there's going to be stories about it and specials. And my question is, okay, if she's acquitted now, you would think the next logical step is to say, okay, well then if that's the case, and if she didn't do it, then
Who did it?
right, and it feels like maybe the police work wasn't as good. Now, Angela sent an email and she said they can't get any of the evidence from the house. They redid the basement and then they sold the house quickly after the death. They also gave away the dog that attacked him.
No one can find the dog.
Holy crap.
They
what a
remodeled the
cover-up,
basement. They sold the house. I think you have this is more than a cover up. This is a conspiracy, because you had to have so many people in on this that were at this party that are all keeping tight-lipped about what really happened. And they all decided together to take this woman down and make her the scapegoat for their crime.
But
it's insane.
Do they know why he got killed? Was there a fight? Was this something they were planning on doing?
So there was little factions of these police friends that maybe weren't always friends, and people had talked shit about other people, and there was even stuff about his girl Karen, like her flirting with one of the other cops at some point. And
I was gonna say there's definitely some porking going on here.
there was absolutely some intermingling.
Well, it sounded like there was a massive amount of drinking happening that night from everybody, because I've seen some of the footage inside the bar and it looked like they were all doing shots.
They were all
really
pounding shots, but you could see her, Karen, and the guy that died, her boyfriend. At one point, they're in the bar and they kiss each other and they're having beers. So, like, they weren't having knockdown, drag out fight.
That doesn't necessarily mean they don't. I've seen cases where there's footage of a couple in a bar flirting and kissing and doing all that, and then one of them kills them later on because of too much drinking.
But what they're saying, the cops were trying to say that John, I think his name was John, that died. John and Karen were fighting all night at the bar, and then they presented the evidence of the camera footage from the bar, and you can see him pull her in close and kiss her on the forehead.
Yeah, that's why you got to be really careful when you go down a line of what your story and your narrative is, and the other side, defense or the prosecution, if they come in there, then it shoots everything out, and then that immediately plants the reasonable doubt inside the juror's mind. And they said, well, what you said, you just showed doesn't seem to be necessarily the case. So now I've got doubt about anything else you say as well. establishing that credibility. That probably is what did it. I didn't follow everything, and now I'm really kind of interested. It's going to be fascinating to see where it goes. I imagine you're going to have a Netflix type documentary. It's going to be on this story, and the fact that it's still hanging out there. And you were talking about the people on TikTok that are going through every little intricate detail. And that's a whole new thing that we didn't have 20, 30 years ago with social media. There's a bunch of people that with every case like this, they have extra time. I don't know what the fuck these people do for a living.
This is what they're doing.
They don't get paid.
Well, they're creating.
Or unless you create a TikTok channel, it gets a lot of followers, so maybe they could.
That's what it is. That's the dream. You got people that are trying to transition.
You're just an internet sleuth.
Yeah.
And that's your job.
Yeah.
I would love to get some internet sleuths to solve a cold case here in Palm Beach County.
I agree.
The Rachel Hurley case. Look it up. I really want to find out who killed that girl.
If you produce crime scene photos, if you have evidence going back and that is shared with these TikTok sleuths, I'm telling you, they are like bloodhounds, and they want to solve it because if they solve it, it gives them all this credibility and the likes and the follows, and within their community, they are a rock star. They want to be the one to solve it.
And what the difference is, I think, when you talk about an older case and a current case, the digital footprints that everybody leaves behind, that's what these sleuths can find. So when you go back to an era where we didn't have cameras on ATMs and all over the place, you don't have the same kind of information that you can dig up from a remote location and find and put together the little tidbits.
Exactly.
You're saying more modern day cases would be easier to solve than a Rachel Hurley case from the 90s?
Yeah,
Definitely.
just because, I mean, you're talking about you find bar cameras. And that's what people could find. And I know a lot of times police will do that where they try to look at the path and they look, there's a bank, there's a this, there's
Ring
a that.
doorbell.
Yeah.
That's
security camera.
That is something that you're right. It's completely new. And if you just get the criminal on a camera just once, there's a really good chance you're going to be able to knock that person down
well,
and
it's
find
a piece
them.
of evidence. You can take so much just from that one image or the video it might be. Somebody said, it sounds like Only Murders in the Building. And that's really what this is. That whole show is about they were into crime podcasts, got together, and then started solving it themselves. And I guess this is a whole new thing. Hey, this might be, you're talking about future jobs. Maybe this is what it is. You work with AI to pull information and piece it together and become an internet sleuth.
It's kind of exciting because those people now are their own boss and they control their own future. And it's kind of exciting for those creators.
It's probably going to help law enforcement because the one thing it has is they don't necessarily have endless amounts of bodies with endless amounts of time. And there's so many cases. And if somebody's finding all this for them and putting it in a format where you could send a cop a video and be like, hey, did you see this yet? Be like, no, I haven't seen this. This is a really good piece of evidence.
Good cops, I think, will look at that and go, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Right.
But there is some pushback from some detective people that are like, no, we don't want them involved because they muddy up the investigation. And that has happened too. Where they get involved and they mess things up for the cops.
And the problem you're going to have too is how easy it is to now create evidence. You think, look, people have been planting false evidence forever, creating something to throw somebody off the trail. So imagine that. That would be the thing. Be like, hey, I'm an internet sleuth when actually you're the murderer and you send fake videos, photos, whatever to the police to try to take them down and get them sniffing on somebody else.
Oh, that's a good plot.
Well, it's kind of like when
we're writing so many great plots today here, Virginia.
I like that.
When sometimes there'll be a murder case or someone's missing and they end up, being murdered. A lot of times the murderer, not a lot of times, but some of the times the murderer is out there with the people looking for the victim.
They do that a lot in the murder shows. I don't watch like you do. I watch the fictional stuff, but they'll often have where the person will sit there and watch. They like keeping an eye on it. It's fascinating.
There was one where the guy, as soon as he injected himself in the case and with the news camera, and as soon as he starts talking, go, guys, he fucking did it. Oh my gosh. He's like, I just miss her. She's my friend. I really love her. Like, dude, what is going on? And he ended up killing her.
Wow.
He was the murderer. But he got himself arrested because he had to get on the fucking camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. So we'll see if more comes out of the Karen Reed story and what happens with that. And the one thing she said in her statement yesterday, she's like, I've been more of a proponent for my deceased boyfriend than anybody else has. And that's how she spun it. I was like, I mean, if she's the murderer, did do it, it's like, all right, yeah. But, if she is, then, maybe she is by her being acquitted and now maybe she does push it. Then if she's like, I think it was these guys and we're not sniffing around them.
She's called them out by name.
Yeah.
And their names are out there on social media, and it's a thing.
Yep.
Especially if you live close to that community. You know all the players' names.
Mm-hmm.
The tricky thing about murderers is they lie. They're not really truthful.
I don't think she did it.
No, I'm not saying she did. I'm saying it's just like Kevin was saying, oh, I've defended him more than anybody. I mean, even if you were the killer, you'd probably say that. If you were found innocent, but you were really guilty.
Yeah.
I think it was the cops. I think it was the cover-up. And I hope they have somebody new. A whole new internal affairs needs to come in. Fire whoever works there, bring in a clean set of eyes, and have them really look and figure out what happened in that basement.
Yep. The other story is a mystery to me. In fact, I had it yesterday, but I didn't do it because I didn't understand it. It is the guy that got married to his ex-girlfriend without being there. And I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around how this happened, and I still don't know. And in fact, I thought maybe this might not be a legit story. And then I saw it again today and explained it a little bit more. Apparently, she found a preacher that said, okay, yeah, I'll perform the ceremony, even though he wasn't there. And the guy found out later, like, what do you mean I'm married to her? And they arrested her for stalking. However, it shook loose. And Jenna said, yeah, you need a marriage license before it gets certified by a pastor. The courthouse must be involved too then, right? So, yeah, I don't know. And I think they were maybe engaged. And I think what happened, it ended, and she didn't take, she's like, you will not leave me. And then she's like, I'll show you. And she went around, she's like, you will marry me. And so maybe they did have a license, maybe they were close, and that's how she did it. So maybe she did have the marriage license already, and he realized this chick might be crazy. You know, and Nate said crooked pastor. I think that's it too.
Crooked pastor, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just like, what are you talking about? You're going to marry without the other party there. What the hell is that? That's insane. He now, just a pain in the ass. I guess the guy has to go through like an official annulment, and you can imagine going through the courts. And so he's got to do all this crap he didn't think he'd have to do.
Sounds cheap.
Yeah, right. What a pain in the ass. So what a wild story that was. So, yeah, definitely some interesting things in the news today. Well, for some of the people that are just jumping in and be like, wait, is this the ATS? I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused.
Where am I?
Yeah, we had a meeting scheduled for 11, and then I had to bitch at our boss for a while. I feel for that poor guy about our phones not working. So, we had some other things going on. So
we made a long day longer.
We did. So we're happy to get the hell out of here, and we're going to wrap up this day and get ready for one more tomorrow. The Friday KVJ show, but we want to give you a full podcast. So we apologize to the live audience for being late, but for everybody else, you're not going to know the difference. Just a podcast. All right, y'all, enjoy your Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.